a big part of this you mentioned earlier is that they're talking about like a scheduling agreement. So part of it is maybe in the postseason, in the non-playoff bowls, do the SEC and the Big Ten play each other more? But it might have been on an Atari 2600. I did this like in 2007, Dan, where I created a Big Ten SEC challenge on my video game system.
Mm-hmm.
I emailed the Big Ten and the SEC about it. I tried to get them to talk to me about it. They wouldn't. I played it out every week, this matchup, whatever. If they want to have a scheduling agreement, if the Big Ten and the SEC said we are going to have a non-conference Big Ten SEC challenge every year, and we are going to tell teams this year you have a home game, next year you have an away game. You know that ahead of time. And then we will plug in what the matchups are at the end of the previous season. And we're going to do it. Half the games are going to be week 2 and half the games are going to be week 3. Are you kidding me? How good that would be for those two conferences, the money they would make. You keep track of who has the most wins, and it would dominate college football. And if that means the Big 12 and the ACC have a harder time scheduling Big 10 and SEC teams in the non-conference, that wouldn't be great. Then just have a Big 12 ACC challenge and do the same thing. Let's go on this yesterday. If they want to schedule each other more to make more TV money, yes, please.
More great games, undoubtedly, as a fan, more great games. This is what a long time ago, the Pac-12 and the Big Ten were going to do this.
Yes.
And if they had just done this, we would still have the Pac-12.
Yep.
Well, there is a Pac-12.
And we'd have Michigan playing USC in the Big Ten Pac-12 challenge, and it would be fine.
Or Ohio State visits Oregon. It would have been fine. It would have been better for overall college football. So this is better. This is two things. One, we're going to consolidate the money between the two of us, and we're going to freeze out these other schools because it will limit the number of ACC Big 12 teams that get a shot at the SEC and the Big Ten. This also will help in the playoff when we try to redefine how teams are selected, and strength of schedule is more important. So it's got multiple benefits for the Big Ten and the SEC at the detriment of everybody else.
So then find a solution though. So find a solution and make Clemson play Utah, and have Florida State play Kansas State, and Pitt played West Virginia and Cincinnati this year. And I wouldn't love it that we would never see the SEC. We wouldn't see Clemson, Georgia anymore because Georgia's too busy playing Michigan or whatever. But find a solution. And for the average fan, I do care about Pitt and Boston College and Utah and Iowa State and teams like that. Cy-Hawk they'd find a way to keep Iowa State going, even if Iowa's playing an SEC team. They would. You would find the things that really matter. You'd find a way. You'd find a way. So I do care about those schools, but I care the most about college football fans, and it would be awesome.
More big time games. Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Great. This is the last one, Dan. Like, should they just give up and take over and break away? And that this is it. And that maybe there's a couple more Big 12 or ACC that come in the back door to the SEC and the Big 10, but that's it. We're not joking around anymore. It is an ACC Big 10 playoff, and then everybody else, maybe go do your own playoff. And so it's not a group of 5 playoff. It's everybody who's not the Big 10 and SEC playoff. And that's what the Big 10 and the SEC would decide. As you said, playoff access is the number one thing. So nobody else would want this. But if the Big 10 and the SEC do want it, I'm not sure there's anything anybody else can do about it. Should they just drop the facade and go do their own thing?
That one would get Congress involved.
Okay.
I mean, if you're the senator,
so let's say you're Congress.
No, I don't
want Congress.
I don't. I'm just saying it would. I mean, if you're the senator in, I don't care, any state, even Ohio.
Yeah.
There's, what are there, 10 Division I teams or whatever? FCS?
There's a lot. Yep.
Well, you represent all of them.
Yep.
And if you're the rep that handles bowling, but let's say you're in Iowa. Well, you don't let an Iowa State just get crushed. Like, hold on. That is their risk. I wouldn't do it. And here's why. You try to make a mini NFL. The problem with the NFL, or the problem with that is in the NFL, someone's going 1-15.
Right.
Or 1-16 now. Or 3-14. And attendance drops and fans stop watching and there's all this tumult. But you can sell your fans on the excitement of the next year. You're getting the number 1 pick. You're going to get your savior, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're the Houston Texans, and now you got CJ Stroud. You're the Washington Commanders, and now you got Daniels coming in. So you prepare for the draft. You're going to rebuild. You're the Lions, right? They rebuilt their whole team. Now they're good. And it's cyclical because the worst teams get the best players and they get the easiest schedule.
Yep.
In college football, the best teams get the best players.
Yes.
They don't just get one draft pick. They can get 5 of the top 10. Right?
Right.
And so how in the world, if you're coming in last, who's going to come in last in the Big Ten this year? Purdue, maybe?
Purdue. They already fired a coach. It's Purdue.
Well, every year you win it, you're going 2-10.
Yeah.
No one wants to play for you. You have to get to 5-6 wins. You still have to play these other teams. You have to find a way to have all of college. I mean, if you just sit there and say, we're just playing each other, no more MAC games, no more FBS games or FCS. Yeah. I'm sorry, I always get it messed up. No more, we're never winning. You're never going to win. And so that would be a disaster if ever, year after year after year, you're going to, and there's no hope because you don't have the resources of the upper half of this league. And so they have to have all these teams because you got to get to 3, 4, 5, 6 wins. You got to have at least some hope. You just want to have a nice, pleasant, it's parents' weekend, right? Bring in a team we can beat. It's homecoming. Yeah. Everybody's happy. We win a game. The leaves are falling. Good stuff. We're not good enough to, there's realism. I don't think people are Purdue football fans are sitting around thinking we're going to win the national championship. They never thought that. Not since Bob Greasy was there or something.
Yeah.
But we can have fun. We can be pretty good. Maybe we beat Ohio State every decade. Maybe we, oh man, we almost, maybe we can be pretty good. We get to 7, 8, maybe not, whatever you can do. If not, you're never getting the players. You never have hope. So they can't go that route to me without if I'm the bottom half of the Big Ten and the SEC, I'm going, great. I got a lot of money, but we're horrible. We're trapped and never getting good.
It is one of the great, I don't know if it was always the plan or it just happened, but the idea in major professional sports in America that losing has a benefit. There is hope in losing to the extent that in the modern era, teams have been trying to lose to gain that hope. I love tanking. So that idea, as we evolve with college football, it is the one place where it is not true and will never be true. So you make a great point here. And all that means is that the sport must think harder and be more proactive in the search for competitive balance because it will never happen naturally. And I think underlying a lot of stuff, and this is where, I think you're right about this, competitive balance and a version of hope for even the most downtrodden teams, I think is like the most important part of sports. And college football has to fight for that in a way that it just happens in the professional sports. And so you're never going to change player acquisition. So you have to fight in other ways. And if they're not careful, they're going to get that out of balance in a way that we have never seen in a sport of this size. Because everybody agrees, college football is the number 2 sport in America. But if they aren't careful, if they pursue money and power at all costs, and competitive balance is completely out of whack, man, like we've never seen that before, and I don't want to see the effects.
No, they can ruin it without question. And there's nobody in charge, right?
Yeah.
There's nobody sitting there saying, wait, the NFC East does not get to try to get the Pittsburgh Steelers to join them.
Right.
That's not how it's working. There's no commissioner. And many of these decisions are made in very short-sighted ideas. I'm an athletic director. I finally got to be the AD here. I'm going to do it for like 8 years. I need to make $2 million a year. I'm going to make money off of this. And so I don't really care about the full bit of college athletics. Some of them do. I'm not saying they all act this way, but I'm looking at how I can improve my budget for my athletic department. I'm not really concerned about the overall benefit, the good or bad for my university, for my community, for my thing. I'm sitting there saying, I'm going to get a bonus. I'm going to make more money. I'm going to be able to hire more people. And that's what they've done by getting people to cheer for revenue. and say, hey, man, look at Purdue football may have one of its worst seasons ever, and could be very hopeless. I don't know. I'm not really I don't mean to pick on Purdue. Well, you got more money. Who cares? It's not your money. They're not going to lower the ticket prices, not lowering tuition. They're not. It's like, great, we got more money and more teams are beating us and we're in a more hopeless spot, let alone just if you love college football like I do. And I think people listening to a show like this, I love that there's all these different chaotic games, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was 2 weeks ago, Colorado Baylor, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable game. There's basically a Hail Mary. It's this wild thing. They rush the field. They rush it again. Like, it's fun. It's just fun. This is what makes the sport so exciting. If you want to watch great football, don't watch college football. Most of it's not very good. You watch the pros. But if you want this chaos, do you really want to sit there and go, Baylor, Colorado, you don't count. Doesn't matter. You don't make enough money. Oh, I love like Wyoming football. I like the concept that the state that has 500,000 people has a program that's trying. And sometimes they're pretty good and they have some good games. And when they get 40,000 people in their stadium, like 8% of the whole state's there. It's amazing. And you sit there and go, well, you know what? Cheyenne isn't a big enough media market. You don't count. It's like, really? Is this what we want to be? Just a spreadsheet off a TV exec? Like, if you care about it all, and I know this is romanticism in a face, those guys in that meeting in Nashville, how many of them are going to care about anything else other than, boy, I'm going to get 4% more revenue, and I can give everybody on my staff, including me, more bonuses. My comp car gets better. I get a second golf club membership.
Yeah.
Good. Congrats.
It is the only sport where money is the primary pursuit as opposed to winning. In every other sport, when First Take talks about the Dallas Cowboys every day, they don't put up a graphic of jersey sales and how much money the Cowboys are making this year, even though they're losing games.
Right.
Pro teams want to win or acquire money so they can win, so they can get more money. And meanwhile, the value of the franchise skyrockets. And I guess there are owners who are cheap and just want to watch the value of the franchise go up.
Sacramento Kings and that type of stuff. Yeah.
Cleveland Guardians. Yeah.
Detroit,
but there are other
Pistons.
But in college football, it really has become the thing where you've made such great points about this, that the pursuit of money is the number one thing and the winning is secondary.
It's the pursuit of guaranteed money too.
And that is
guaranteed money, because they want that guaranteed TV, 4 bids. This is what I know my budget will be. If you want to make money, you can also make it by winning.
Yes. So pursue winning to make money. Don't pursue money and hope that means you win. And they do have to be careful. I think it's going to be fine, but that's the number one way they can kill this sport.
Yes. And I agree. I think it's going to be fine. It's very hard to kill football. I mean, buy stock in football in America. It's not really.
Yes.
I'm not, but I'm saying that the mentality and the push along these things are really not healthy. And there's a lot of people in these two leagues that sit there and there's fans in those two leagues going, this is great. This is great. We're making more money. You're losing. Like, if you're a fan and you really care about the revenue of your athletic department, fine. But would you rather be, because they'll sit there and say, well, Clemson football, they don't make as much money as Purdue football. Okay, they don't. So what? Wouldn't you rather be Clemson?
Yeah.
Would you rather be a Clemson fan?
Like, who cares?
You know what?
Right. Yeah.
Who cares? You know what? They make tons of money because they win. They fill their stadium. People buy T-shirts. Kids apply to the school. Also, they're close to Atlanta, and Purdue isn't. You have all the money you want at Purdue. Kids want to play near home, and Trevor Lawrence grows up an hour away and says, I'm going here. Right. So what do you want to be? It's just the only sport where they get so excited about revenue. And it's an odd thing, but they've done a tremendous job selling that concept to fans.
Yeah.
I'd be careful. And here's the thing. Eventually, if they're cutting other people out, they're going to cut you out.
Right. No, that is.
You're good.
Say it again.
You're good.
I mean, you've only made Purdue fans super nervous.
Purdue fans going to hate me. I'm sorry. You're having a tough season. Some years it's not you, but
you got to have your eyes open about this.
Yes.
So in the end, and here's the thing, Dan, you talked about a world where you were providing information to the people who were running college football, and they were saying, what? I feel like if you went and gave a 5-minute speech about this before the SEC and Big Ten had their meeting in Nashville, you might have people in that room turning to each other and saying, he's right. Why are we pursuing money first, winning second? And is that the best way to have long-term health in this sport? Sometimes I can't see the forest through the trees, man. All right. Write a book. Can you write a book? What would be the name of this?
I'm Dan Wetzel. I approve this message. It's right. It's stump speech season. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what. It's going to be fine. It's going to be football, but
I think it is going to be fine, but
I just find it hard to be I'm not a fan of any of the teams, right? I don't have it. I went to UMass, where like literally the worst team.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm not a fan. I'm a hockey fan, an NHL fan. But so I don't quite get it. But I look at some of the schools and go, I don't know why why you think this is working for you. I want to win.
Yeah.
I'm a Boston Bruins fan. I want to win. I don't care about the damn owner. I'm not sitting there saying like, boy, this is great. We're going to screw over the Vancouver Canucks. Okay, great. Am I going to win? Are we winning? Because that's all. When I watch the game, I want to win. Other than that, don't care. Don't care how much money the guys make. Don't care about any of it. Just how's the game going to go?
We kept you long, Dan, but we got fired up. Is that okay?
Let's do it. That's what it's about.
Fired up.
We talk things through like gentlemen.
Because in the end, it's such a good sport. It's going to be fine unless they work really hard to kill it. And I hope I hope the meeting next week in Nashville is not the first chapter of your book of how they ruin college football, because they got in a room and said, here's a chart. This is why we can make this much more money if we cut everybody else out. So be careful. That's all. To the people going to that meeting in Nashville, we understand you're going to get a lot of what you want, but please be careful.
Think of it.
He's Dan Wetzel.
Think of the children.
Think of the children. Think of the podcasts.
No one's going to.
It's like, hey, college football's dead. Our shows are over. You can find Dan on the College Football Inquirer. You can read him at Yahoo Sports. You can catch him here every Tuesday on KOTN. Dan, thanks as always.
Always fun. Thanks.